My name is Oren. I am a Director of Product Management at OpenText, part of the Application Delivery Management Business Unit. So before we start, just a short reminder of the software delivery platform, a platform that takes software delivery from the planning phase through the build/R&D, test/QA, deliver and run of applications, starting with our strategic planning or with the PPM solution, going through agile quality with multiple test solution from functional, performance, compliance, security, and down to the later stages of release, process management, delivery, and integration with ticketing systems and other on the deployment part. Just as a reminder, here is our homepage in the online application. As you can see, you have the agile module, the quality module, functional testing, performance testing, release process, and of course, my work and insights and dashboards where we gain control. What stands behind the platform is its connectivity, which allows us to connect all the dots from what, as I call it, from the C level to the code level. You can see here is an example with a feature that is linked to an epic, and in turn related to test, to manual test, to automatic test, to other features, to breakdown, to user stories, to multiple defects that might be connected. Everything is interconnected in one place, which helps managers and organizations manage their portfolios, products, epics, features, user stories in one place and put a spotlight on risk and on continuous improvement through multiple sets of dashboards, reporting, filtering, team management, backlog management, requirement management, of course, quality and test management, everything in one place in the SDP. So from planning to delivery, from ideation to production in one place. And today we'll talk about how this world of DevOps is dramatically affected by AI, what opportunities we have with AI. And if going to talk about AI, everyone talks about AI. Everyone already uses AI. I'm sure that in a personal level, everyone in this forum already uses AI day in, day out. But the problem starts when agile processes and enterprises start using agile for software development, for product development. And the challenge here is that we taught AI to code. Now we're trying to teach it not to ship bugs at the speed of light. So how do we make sure that whatever we do is, of course, assisted by AI, and how AI helps us go faster and faster and deliver more secure code, more reliable code, more reliable AI features, even in our own applications, etc., etc. I'll start in the first part of this webinar. We'll cover current capabilities within SDP. I'll use the term Aviator. Aviator is the general term in OpenText for all of our AI capabilities. And the reason we use Aviator is probably because Copilot is already occupied, probably. So Aviator would be the name that I'll use as when I refer to our AI capabilities. So how Aviator, or our DevOps Aviator, helps us do DevOps in a much better way, much faster way, in a way that provides true ROI to organizations. And I'll talk about a little bit about the ROI that our own customers are already realizing thanks to using Aviator AI in their DevOps processes. So we talk about AI augmented software delivery. We want to gain all the benefits that AI brings to the world into our delivery process, from, again, ideation to delivery. And today I'll talk about some timeline from the generation of the feature, the generation of user stories, specifically down from the feature level, about covering those features, user stories, and other entities with test coverage, with test scripts, with automation of those tests, and with cloud execution, which will finalize the making sure that our application is fully tested in every part of it. There is an involvement of AI, and I'll just demonstrate our current capabilities. And lastly, how we analyze and risk, how we analyze and mitigate risk with AI and machine learning capabilities. So let's start with a feature level. So on a feature, let's say that I have just now created a feature in the system. I have some new great idea as a product manager that I wanted the team to implement into my product. I might describe it in a very generic way or as much as detailed as I can, but still AI may find some gaps in my description, and I would like AI to review my feature and let me know what is missing. The idea here is that as much as I get the specs, the descriptions detailed as possible, or my user story as detailed as possible, then when we move to AI-based coding, the coding will know exactly what has to happen, what is the exact spec. So it's very important to start already in the planning phase from a very, very detailed information. And for that, AI comes to our help and will help us to review what I've just written and suggest me improvements, identify the gaps. Let's see how it works. I have some short videos on those stages. So here we start from a feature. Okay, I didn't want to spend time on live demos, so I prepared some recorded ones. So here is my feature, and I'll just click the Aviator pane, and in the Aviator pane, identify missing aspects in my feature, and in seconds, Aviator will find for us the missing aspects of the feature. As an example, the spec mentions an admin parameter, but doesn't really explain what it should do. Aviator already identified for me, this is a missing aspect. Make sure that you add this, because otherwise the developer will need to come back to you and ask, okay, what do you want it to be? Okay, so this is just one example. You can see there are 8 comments here. I can copy and paste, I can improve, I can ask Aviator to suggest a new description based on these or based on certain parts of the feedback that Aviator just provided to us. The next phase would be, all right, there is a feature. Now I want to break it down to user stories. User stories would look usually like, as a persona, I would like to do this and that, given that this and that, the result should be this and that. So breaking down the feature to a agile backlog user stories, which a thing that can take long hours for a team leader or for a product manager or functional architect to really go through the feature, understand the meaning of it, look up into the epic level, into the product level, into previous documentation, and decide what is those user stories. This can take enormous amount of time, and with AI, it will happen in a matter of seconds, as you'll be able to see here. Again, the same feature, and I'll just click on the generate user stories, and really in terms of seconds, as you'll be able to see here, Aviator will read through the feature, will read through the epic, through anything that is related around the feature, and will generate for us in this example, I think that's about 16 user stories, which in a button click, I'll just move them into my actual backlog. Okay, so as you could see, something that could take us a very long time, now I get it in the format that I want. I can even teach AI. We'll talk about it as part of the roadmap. I can teach AI how a user story should look like, how a feature should look like in my own organization, not generically in the internet. So user stories are here. And of course, I could select checkboxes. I don't need necessarily to take all 16 suggestions, but I can just with a button click, put them under my backlog. Now let's move to the next phase, which is, as we said, we don't want to these fast activities to really be shipped without testing. So testing is super critical in today's world. Before we go on testing, okay, I will. Okay, let's look at the test. So again, I'm here with the test, and I'll just click the button generate manual tests. So again, Aviator will read through the feature, through the existing user stories, through existing tests if they already exist. If not, like in this case, Aviator will generate for us tests. And as you can see from the test names that are very indicative that Aviator did understand the meaning of this feature, talking about search, and defines how the admin part should look like and what it should be tested. And of course, if we drill down into one of the tests, you'll be able to see that Aviator also generated the very relevant test steps to what this feature is all about, or what the user stories are all about, and generated this specific test that in this example checks the input and validation on comment fields for in this example. So this is part of, you know, that was the next step where tests are covering our user stories and features. Now we would love to automate that. And with automation, before I go to automation, I want to share with you some very cool capability. I think no one else in the testing world for sure is using this or introducing these capabilities, is the ability to upload videos and transfer a video into defects. For example, if a customer sent my customer support a reproduction of a problem, of a defect or potential defect in my application, just recorded the video, I can upload the video into the defect entity and ask Aviator to watch the video, listen to the narration, and suggest the reproduction steps, something that could take us a very long time, you know, just opening the video, saving it, watching it, understanding, typing the whole scenario. Aviator will do this for us in seconds. In addition, you can also create manual tests, upload a video, and have Aviator listen to the video, watch the video, understand not just what is the scenario, but what should be verified as part of the scenario, and generate again a set of tests, including their manual steps for verification. And that's quite amazing because it doesn't just look at the flow or the business flow in the video, it also understands what needs to be checked, what a human being would recommend checking in this process. Even more, you can record a video not on a live application, but already on a mockup. So if you use Figma or any other mockup tool, you can already record a business scenario in a video and let Aviator create for you the test, maybe long time before the application is coded even. Or lastly, generate automation tests with codeless. Okay, so very similar idea. Watch the video and generate a codeless test. What is a codeless test? Is a low code or no code scripting language that we have. You've seen the functional test module in SDP. So codeless is a no code language that describes in English, in proper English, what should be tested, and using computer vision, our agents would know on which elements on the screen to click, not by coordinates or by looking into the web DOM model, but directly by watching the application on the screen. And with this language, I can instruct what should be the manual test. So again, I can start from a video and generate the codeless test. In a codeless test, there is another usage of AI, and that's with the smart verification checkpoint, where I can tell Aviator to verify that the value of a button is not negative or is not offensive, or whatever you want to describe just in English, rather than with comparing strings to strings or colors to colors. Just tell the script, okay, I want you to verify that this is a reasonable number for a tablet, for example. Okay, so a smart verification point, again, based on our AI capabilities. And these verification points will also appear in our final test run report. Let's see this in action. So again, we go to the backlog module and we'll select an item from the list. In this example, it's a different feature. Here we talk about our online store in this example. Store, and the feature talks about adding item to the cart. Think about adding something to a shopping cart. You would want to see that the item was really added to the cart, and the cart now contains one item or more as needed. And here is sorry, no, sorry, I moved to the next slide instead of letting it continue. So sorry. So here we go, and here is the feature, and in the attachment tab, I can upload a video, and here I'll play shortly the video. The user selects the tablets area in my store and select the tablet, add it to the basket or to the shopping cart. And now I would like Aviator to generate an automatic test, a codeless test, directly from the video. I'll click on a button, and Aviator will upload the video, watch the video, and suggest 3 codeless tests, which will, in a button click, will be added to the tests. So I already have here several manual tests probably, and here I have added another 3 codeless tests that were added. One will check what happens if I remove item, or if I modify, or what should be tested when I am adding a product to the cart. Okay, what's left now is getting into the test, and sorry, yeah, no. Yeah, getting into one of these tests and running the test on the OpenText test lab in the cloud. So what you'll see here is our script. There are tablets. Go to the tablets module, select the tablet, add to the cart, and verify that the total items in the cart is now 1. And when I click the run button, it will upload a real application in the OpenText test lab. And here the test runs, selects for us the tablets module, selects a certain tablet, and adds it to the cart. At this point, it should run the checkpoint and verify that the total is 1 item in the cart. And when we go to the run results report, we'll see that the test succeeded in this case, and this is our run report. So as you could see, we started from a feature, optimized it, broke it down to user stories, added manual tests, used video to add automation tests. Of course, this automation test can be added to a regression cycle and be ran every day, every is defined by the organization. So we started from a story to cloud execution, something that could take us days, if not weeks previously. Now it can happen in a matter of a couple minutes. Next stage, and here I would like to stop a little bit on some analysis capabilities that are based on machine learning and AI that are part of the product. These are the risk-based testing. So with machine learning, Aviator will analyze all the latest code changes, the risky code changes, the number of manual tests, the percentages of manual tests that are covering latest changes, automation test, the number of test failures, and provide us with a quality score. So this is under the quality module, under the risk tab. So for each and every application module, or the platform will assign a risk score. In this case, you see that's above 8 points, 8 out of 10 points, which means high risk. I can understand why is that. A lot of check-ins and very little test coverage, and test with even some test failures. And the important thing is not just knowing what's the problem, but trying to solve. So with risk-based testing, I can click on this button here and I'll get a suggestion, list of suggested tests that already exist. And if I just add those tests that are related to those changes, they will have potentially the option to raise the level of coverage and by that reduce the quality risk score. Another example where AI serves us in the DevOps process is with root cause analysis, and that's what happens when we sometimes realize in our dashboard that there is a problem. For example, if there is a growing number of wasted time in the process, we would like something to help us understand what can be the reason. So with machine learning algorithms, we try to find the commonalities between all the items that didn't went well, that represented a higher a volume of wasted time or a higher volume of escaping defects or anything that is defined as a problematic behavior in our process. And we would like AI to find the commonality between all these items and suggest what can explain and what is the root cause of those related items, what is the correlation between those items, suggest us which area. It can be a milestone, it can be a team, it can be the day where code is checked in, any explanation that AI can find for us as a root cause for the problem. And by that, we can focus on these areas, try to improve those, and by that, to hopefully improve the problem reported by the graph or by the measurement. Next is time to market prediction, a very cool feature. Everyone has features that are in actions. There is a PM in the end or a customer in the end that is waiting for their delivery. We would like to know if there is any risk in the currently developed features in terms of time to market, in terms of when these features are going to be ready. So if the blue line here represents today on the calendar, we want to see when AI predicts the end time of each feature, again, based on machine learning and based on understanding the entire history, the entire product, the entire features, and the set of individuals and teams and groups and relationships, and try to predict when each of those features is expected to get to the market, and if there is a risk of delivery, comparing to the expected release time or milestone time, I'll get a red flag here with a warning that this feature may not be able to make it on time to market, and I may need to make changes into my plans or set the expectations right. So these are few examples. Of course, as you could see, it's current AI capabilities are based on a chat. So basically any correspondence between the user and the chat is possible. These were just few examples that are very popular within our customer base. But basically you can ask Aviator any question you would like about a defect, about a feature, about a user story, about a test. You can ask, as an example from Aviator, here, the test that you've created, please add more edge cases to the script. And Aviator will do that for you, just as an example. So as you could see, we covered everything from ideation to delivery in seconds rather than in days or even weeks. And I want to, before I go to talk about a little bit about the ROI and what we hear from our customers, I wanted to draw your attention that there is one more piece of technology that we have added to our product, and that talks about test evidence evaluation with AI. Many of QA organizations and some of our customers are using the concept of uploading test evidence. There is a task force, sometimes offshore, sometimes external to the organization, but third-party vendor that needs to run the test, but each execution of a test must come with an uploaded evidence, which can be a screenshot, which can be a screenshot of a test run report, which can be an Excel file, which can be a log file, whatever. And this has to be used as an evidence. What we have as part of the AI technology is the ability to evaluate these non-structured data images, PDF files, Excels, etc., and give it a score. Explain why a certain score was given to a certain upload, to a certain evidence, and help the teams focus on the lower scores, understanding what went wrong, or if there is a need to focus the evidence uploaders, the testers, better on the quality of evidence, the relevancy of evidences, etc. So AI will definitely be able to help us also in that. So we talked about the whole story from ideation to delivery with AI. And so AI is really everywhere in the process, and it really brings real ROI, or as I call it, intelligence is artificial, ROI is very, very real. And we see that every day, every time we talk to our customers. This is one example from a customer. I promise not to disclose the name, but what they said, that they started from zero tests on a very, very critical module in their application. They just had zero tests, and they created 157 tests in 50 hours rather than what could take them previously 150 hours. And even more important, after the generation, which took them about 10 minutes, the rest 50 hours were invested by their SMEs, by their subject matter experts, to review the tests that were generated with Aviator. And the message was that most of the tests, I wouldn't say 100%, but close to 100% of the tests were spot on. And the SMEs were very, very satisfied with these tests. So again, from 150 to 50 hours for validated tests. Pick and Pay, this guy Leon just spoke in our OTW event last month, and the bottom line was that with these capabilities, mainly with the test generation capabilities, Pick and Pay could save like 95% of automation to grow their automation, and they do it in enormously a short time, which is a great message for us, that our assumptions about how AI contributes and can contribute to everyone's DevOps processes is already here. And another example, here I talk about OpenText. OpenText users, it's about 6,000 developers that are using the platform every day. Just in 1 month, we have collected one of the previous months statistics about using of Aviator. So with generating tests and with creating user stories and test step generation, etc., we evaluate it internally as more than 1,200 work days in total time save. Amazing number, and that's just in 1 month. Okay, so we're highly satisfied with the results internally, and as you could see, also our customers are highly happy with the results that and the time, cost, and resource saving brought by Aviator AI. I'll go now. Since we covered, and we are about the middle of this webinar, we covered current capabilities, but it doesn't stop here. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just the beginning of how AI is going to be part of it, because the future is brighter with autonomous AI, with autonomous software delivery. I'll start with the vision, and I'll go to more specific roadmap items that are in the roadmap. So the idea, as always, we want to theoretically start from an idea that I have in my crazy mind as a product manager. I want it to be deployed in seconds. Of course, it never happens in seconds, but with AI, it goes much faster. So I'll have my plan. I'll let AI review my plan of ideation. I'll read what AI created for me, broke it down for whatever I need, and I approve the plan and let AI go forward. So AI would generate for me the backlog item, mockups, test idea, test steps, etc., make it ready for R&D to continue to build the code, to get it tested. Okay, so in the next step, okay, Aviator is working for me until the point that it tells me, hey, I'm ready to deploy. Please review the plan, understand, how many tests, what the risks are. If you're fine, can I continue to deployment? Another human control here in the process, and I'll click here in the button, and in seconds, the new code was deployed for me, creating new assets for the next cycle of DevOps, validating what was missing, what could be done better, which new innovative ideas can be added to the product, etc. So this is what we see as the future of autonomous delivery. So from ideation to delivery in almost automatic, fully automatic way. The good news is, as you could see, we have many of these parts we already have in place. We have the feature breakdown, the test coverage, the release management that can use AI. A lot of these aspects already exist. Okay, but it goes even beyond that. So the only, if you could see, the only part that I didn't really cover in this slide is, we talked about build and test, but what about coding? Okay, coding, it's a very, very fast growing world. There are a lot of code helpers, code assistants, assist agents, the copilots for them. But what these copilots really need, they need a very, very detailed description of what I need them to do for me. They need this very, very senior person in the team, sometimes the system architect that knows the system from start to end in the last 15 years maybe, and would really know what can affect what can be the reason of a failure. So this very, very smart guy, we would like to make him an agent. We would like to make this very smart guy a person that understands test, features, epics, relationships between products, between modules, between microservices, understand the code to the very, very detailed level, and provide insights and instructions to the autonomous coding agents. For that, we are looking at the platform, SDP, or formerly known as Value Edge, not just as a storage of data, but as a platform who really understands the software, that has all the records, the test cases, the user stories, the documentation, but also understands the reality, the code structure, the runtime logs, the UI flows, every single line of code. So kind of an expert engine. And I'm sure in each and everyone's organization, there is this very, very smart guy or a team of very smart guys who know the everything inside out. We are aiming to have this inside SDP. So what happens when we come to the actual coding agents, then I will be able to ask, okay, why this build failed? And this smart guy within SDP will tell us, okay, the root cause is null pointer at line 42. Or what happens if I change this function? So this very smart guy will tell us, okay, this is related to this, and this services. So you must, take action also in modules B and C if you made a change in module A, or generate a test. So it will very precisely be able to generate tests, not just a generic test, but something that really talks to how my software is really structured. Okay, so this is basically our vision of being the knowledge hub for the digital team. So a digital team is maybe, and we start seeing this with the agentic AI, is a combination of a human being team, of a real team of experts, of developers, QA testers, etc., security experts, but also of virtual agents, virtual team members, or as we call them in OpenText, digital workers. So all these would need this knowledge hub in order to know what they need to know. And we just talked about the developer that will need to know what to develop, how to develop, what effects some change in the code will have on other areas, and then the tester in turn would need to test those those changes, etc., etc. So SDP is becoming more and more with all this existing knowledge with pipelines and requirements and tests and defects and everything would become the knowledge hub for the autonomous delivery motion of DevOps. And this is the vision. So how we break this down, I'll start with, we work agile and we work step by step. So we have all these capabilities that I've described in the first part of the session. Now let's look what we're working these days on. Before I go to very detailed roadmap, I want to highlight that as part of our concept, many of our customers are not necessarily using SaaS as in the core product. Some of our customers are using a Octane on-premises or the current name SDM, Software Delivery Management Platform, on-prem, and we are bringing AI also to those customers off the cloud, no matter if the user using a local LLM or a cloud LLM, a dedicated LLM. We're not forcing our customers to move to our own SaaS service in the cloud. In our cloud, we specifically use a Vertex AI or a Gemini, but we are opening that to the customer, and that's a very, very important thing to many of our customers who want to keep Octane and the database and everything very secured in their environment and still gain the benefits that AI already brings to the DevOps process. So that's one. Now, let's go a little bit into talking about what we see in the future. So this is our chat aviator. We have a very, very smart assistant that is there. I can ask him to generate user stories, generate tests, etc. But that's just one single smart person that has very generic knowledge. Think about a university graduate. Is a very smart person, but it doesn't have my own organizational knowledge. And I want to make it into a team of experts with some orchestrator that will orchestrate the work between very detailed knowledge owners, the quality expert, the automation expert, the performance expert. If I am talking about SAP, maybe my SAP expert, I want each and every one of them to be able to do for me parts of the work, but exactly how it should look like in my own organization, in my industry, in my product. And here are some examples for these experts, what these experts can do. For example, one expert can generate dashboards for me based on the team, based on a sprint. Scrum Master, plan for me the sprint. Prioritize for me a defect. Here is a new defect. What you think should be the priority? Identify who is the best expert in the team to solve a problem. Triage, assign a work item to a team, to a persona. Document generation, find dependencies, analyze root cause, etc., etc. Those are all team members, virtual team members that will help the physical team do their work much faster, much more accurate. And this is still a mock-up of how we envision this virtual team. So we'll have a team of experts. Each of those experts will have its own tools and knowledge and access control. And I'll be able to assign each of them a task that will happen immediately or triggered by some event in the system. And when they're done, they will report to me, back to me, what is the status, how this is done. Okay, now I've created stories from you. I created a defect for you. I created a dashboard for you. I have assigned a defect to somebody. I have assigned evidence score to the attachment or anything that the agents are doing for us in the team. And as I said, each agent should have very dedicated knowledge source, because I don't want these digital workers to have a generic knowledge, from the internet or from what Google knows in their LLM, but I want to teach each of them with a very detailed knowledge of my own organization, how a release is defined, what are the teams in definition of work in my organization, what modules of SAP I'm using and what is their documentation. I'll be able to upload documents for them and tell them, here is the set of knowledge that you need to know. Here are some examples that we actually already have in our SaaS version. I can tell the system how to define defect severity, not generically, not in the internet, but in my own organization. What is a high? What is a medium? What is a low? How a spec should look like. And if it's not like that, Aviator will tell me, hey, it's not like that. Or when Aviator will create for me the feature, it will do it according to those definitions, or how to create user stories, etc. In the roadmap, we also work on an MCP connectivity into the product, into Octane. So Octane will be able to read from wiki pages like instructions and other interactions with wiki pages, from web pages, and also to interact with GitHub Copilot, with Teams, with Slack, with any other thing that can consume MCP connections. So some examples for agents and how they're going to really become a very essential part in the process of DevOps. So one example that we are very close to delivering is manual test or digital worker. Think about the manual test that you want some digital worker. DW stands here for digital worker. So we want, instead of a human being to run this test for us, I want a digital worker to go through the test and strive to run it accurately. So even if the menu is closed and say, hey, click on the menu, so a fully automated script would really need first to uncover the menu or click something that will find the menu, open it up for me, etc. With a digital worker, it will behave like a human being. It will be intelligent enough to understand that there is an arrow down icon somewhere that would open for us the menu, and then we'll continue to the next step and select the menu item as an example. So by analyzing the application and all its components, a manual script can become a full execution. Of course, this test can be later on automated and added to our automation coverage, but even without automating it, we can run those manual tests on our application and let the QA team focus on other things rather than running or unnecessarily running again and again manual tests. Another interesting example, which we are currently very intensively researching, is the concept of change impact testing. So again, we talked about, as I said, some very smart person in the team that really understands the impact of a change on other areas. Sometimes and I guess everyone in this call has an example of a team that is doing a change in the code and is not even aware that this change in the code may affect another project, another module, another department development, and that will be revealed later on when some customer hits the wall and the problem uncovers itself. What we want to do is one expert, one agent that would identify a change, whether in the code or just in a change of a status of a defect or in a change of a status of a user story. Another very smart virtual team member where they would identify for us the impacted areas by understanding the structure, by understanding the code, by understanding everything that is interconnected in the SDP database, would be able to tell us what areas can be impacted by the change. And the next agent will build a test plan for us that will ensure that the change that we just applied is fully covered by anyone that is affected by the change. We call it change impact testing, and we're in good progress in researching of this. Super exciting. Will reduce the need to run 3,000 tests towards the release into testing just the latest changes, just the the last days or the last sprint changes, and making sure that we cover all possible affected areas just from the very pinpointed set of code changes. Another thing that AI is going to do for us as part of the roadmap is entity similarity suggestions. Say that I want to create a defect, I'll create it with AI. I don't just create a defect and hope that it doesn't duplicate and it's written well. I'll create a defect with AI. So I'll describe the issue, I'll let AI make the description better, and even suggest whether there are already existing defects that are very, very similar in their context to the defect that I am about to create. Same if I want to create a user story or a feature, it will say, hey, stop. There is already something. Don't waste time on that. Someone already revealed the issue or already added the feature. Don't work. Or if it's okay, let me help you assign it to the team. Let me assign a severity. If everything goes well, just click on a button and generate the defect, or find similar tests. As another example here, okay, I have thousands of tests maybe in my system. I want to identify redundancies in those tests and avoid redundant tests to be created, or let us unify some of the tests. Of course, Aviator will be able to help us also do unification and suggest the needed in order to make sure that we have in the system only tests that are valuable and used. Another thing that actually we already have for the functional testing test, but not for all tests, and we plan to get it for more and more automation test failures. So if a test failed, I'll be able to ask Aviator through the understanding of the application, through the understanding of the test, through the understanding of what a feature should do and how it should be covered, and the test failed, it will help us analyze what went wrong and what can be the reason for the failure, and also suggest us corrective actions, potential fixes, even generate a defect for us that later on can be sent to the coding agent that will code it for us, etc., etc. Next example that is in the roadmap is test data generator. Again, I can start from a very generic test. I can ask Aviator to identify for me which items in the test can be parameterized, and also suggest values to those parameters, names, card IDs, phone numbers, etc., either on the plan time or on runtime of a test. Threat modeling, something that developers really don't like doing, is reviewing the user stories, reviewing their feature, and suggesting based on some common models what should be the items from security perspective that must be covered. And again, threat modeling is something that will be soon possible by Aviator, saving again a lot of time from the developer reading through this, improving the descriptions, making sure that everything Aviator will do this for us. From a different angle, and again, we have AI that will help us do something that is super critical to so many organizations in the world, including us, my own organization. So me as a vendor, we have Aviator. This is a feature based on AI. I can ask it, for example, generate user stories for me, or write a feature better for me, or whatever I ask AI. Now, it's very hard to predict what the answer from Aviator would be. And when I deliver to my customers, I want to make sure that repeatedly I ask the same question and I get an answer that is close enough to what a good answer is. The problem that I just described is the non-deterministic nature of AI. So every application which contains AI, it can be my Aviator as OpenText as a vendor, or it can be a banking application that adds an AI agent talking to their end customer in the mobile application, or any other idea. Everyone will eventually have AI components within a more complicated applications. So the challenge is, how do we test those AI components in in our applications. And again, their responses are not very deterministic. Here is an example. I can ask AI. So AI tell me, hey, I am your AI application. And I ask AI, how are you today? And the AI chat answers good. Now, what happens if I say, how are you today? And the answer is quite well, thank you. Or if I ask, how are you today? And the answer is, oh, bad, thanks for asking. All these answers can be legitimate, but they're depending on a kind of a soft definition of what is right and what is wrong. So if I define the right answer as positive emotions, then the first ones are good answers. And if I have a test, this test would succeed. But if the answer is bad, it might fail the test. Okay, or if I define the expected value, again, a soft definition of what is the expected value, emotions in general. So also bad is a good answer. Well, if the answer is green, so probably this is a bad answer. And I guess if the answer is blue, is I don't know if it's emotion or color, but green is definitely something that is beyond what I expect. So to this concept, we call Aviator as a judge. The world call it AI as a judge. And we plan to embed into the system this type of a judge, which will continuously run a golden set of data, a golden set of prompts that is sent to multiple AI models and see how they behave. And from the responses that these AI models provide, we can determine based on a scoring criteria like language, structure, non-deterministic questions like emotions. Is it emotions? Is it positive emotions or any type of criteria? Our AI engine will be able to provide a score to the answer. So if the answer is good, it's 96% close to the right expected answer. While if the answer is green, it's probably 5 or 0 from what I have expected. So the answer in world of testing AI application, it's not just pass or fail. It's more similar to what I just described about scoring of evidences. It's a score. It's not 100% unless it's one-to-one what I provided as the expected value. But semantically, it should be close enough, or it should provide a score. And what is more interesting is not just the score as of this run, but what will be more interesting is a trend. So if at a certain hour in a day or in a certain date, we see deterioration in these scores, that can point us to some change that happened and we may not even know. For example, if my R&D team upgraded the LLM version and from that hour on, there is a deterioration on the responses that we get or on the scores that we get to the responses received from the AI part of my application. So this is the concept of AI-based testing. And the good news is that you remember that I mentioned the smart verify checkpoints in our functional test module. So smart verify can already do part of this and ask a question like, is this a reasonable price for a weekly shopping basket? It's not, it's not a compare 1,000 to 1,000, 2,000 to 2,000, but it can tell us that $5,678.90 is not a reasonable price, and for that reason, that test will fail the step. So we already have the technology, but we will introduce it in a more structured way for AI testing concepts. We are very, very focused also on this area of how to test or how to rely on AI in our own applications. So it's a problem that we have in-house, but we definitely see this all over. All customers that already embedded AI in their applications are looking for solution exactly in this area. So just to summarize, we started from an AI that is responsive as a chat. We extended to Gen AI agents, smart assistant agents, AI testing that I just described. We are working towards digital workers and to building collaborative digital team. that will involve the physical, the human beings with the digital worker to collaborate and to bring to the bottom line value of saving time, delivering software very, very fast, faster than ever, thanks to the AI capabilities with improved testing time, improved testing coverage, reduced risk, less defects, better descriptions, better breakdown of descriptions to something that coding agents can actually use, and let us and our customers go beyond speed with AI powered software delivery.
Thank you so much, Oren. That was wonderful. If anyone has any questions going forward, you can contact us at getinfo@mjm.com, and we'll connect you with Oren and one of our account executives